I'm Andrea Giles, and you're listening to the Heal from Infidelity podcast, episode number 48, Abundance versus Scarcity. Hello, and welcome to the Heal from Infidelity podcast, where courageous women learn not only to heal from their spouse's betrayal, but to become the boldest, truest, most decisive, and confident versions of themselves ever. If you know there's more for you than the life you're currently living, but don't quite know how to get there, you are in the right place. Stick around to learn how to create a life that will knock your own socks off. Is it possible? It is, and I'm here to show you how. I'm your host, Andrea Giles. Are you ready? Let's dive in. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the show, episode 48. So today we are going to talk about abundance and scarcity. Now, these are kind of buzz terms that are popular right now, so you've probably heard them, but I want to talk about them my way and see if I can't shed some light on these topics and show you why they actually do matter, that they're more than just the popular saying of the day, right? I want to share with you what they have to do with you, what they have to do with infidelity, what they have to do with moving forward and looking at your options and all of that today, okay? So to start out, there are a few areas where we see abundance versus scarcity talked about quite a bit. Time, money, relationships, health. So first, I want to talk about scarcity versus those things. And I want you to listen and see if you can relate to any of these things that we talk about, okay? First, let's talk about time. Time. There's not enough time. There's always too much to do. So with each of these things that I'm talking about, time, money, relationships, and health, I want to challenge you to do something, okay? I want you to look at the story that was told to you that you learned as a child. And how I want you to do this is this way. I want you to think about if you had a book about the topic of time in your life, what would the title of your book be? Would it be There's Never Enough? Or There's Always Too Much to Do and Not Enough Time? How was it modeled for you? What was modeled? Frantic? More like pushing really hard and then like collapsing? Quitting? Steady diligence, overwhelm? What was modeled? What did you watch? What has your experience been around time? What is the name of your book? This is an area that I've been working on, time. And next week I'm out of town and for my husband and my anniversary. And so I'm getting a lot done ahead of time, like recording an extra episode and just lots of different things that need to be done so I can go take time off. Now, something that my brain loves to do is running through all the things that I have to do and telling the story that there's not enough time. How can I possibly get it all done? And so something that I've learned about myself is that I often overestimate how long each thing might take. I make it seem like this mountain of a thing to do when really it might only take like an hour. But that's coming from my story of always so much to do, not enough time. And that's an area that I'm working on and really challenging. How long does it actually take? And I'm going to come back to this later on. Next, money. What's your money story? What was the story modeled to you? If you could, again, write the title of a book about your money story, what would it be? This last week, I coached someone who told me that she doesn't know how to make money. Those are her words. I don't know how to make money yet. Here's the funny thing. In the very same conversation, and really kind of the same paragraph that she was saying she doesn't know how to make money, she told me that she could go out anytime and get a good job, that she would get hired. Isn't that funny? So I called her out and I said, well, you just got done told me you don't know how to make money, yet you could also go get a job and make good money. And so what it really came down to for her is that she has a new business and she doesn't believe that she knows how to make money in her business. And then she went to this whole general statement of, I don't know how to make money. So interesting, right? She just couldn't see it. We often lock ourselves into situations we don't want to be in because of money, thinking we can't do it on our own. And this often comes from how we were raised. So back to that book title, of the money story you were taught, what was it? Here's some ideas. Money doesn't grow on trees. There's never enough. I have to take what I am offered. I should be grateful for what I am offered. I don't need much. Wanting more money makes you greedy. Money is hard to come by. Easy come, easy go. Hard to get, easy to spend. What's yours? Do any of those ring a bell? My story growing up was that there was never enough. So, how are you using the money story to inform the choices available to you now? Are you pulling pages from that book, that old book, to decide what is available to you now? This happens to be an area I have done a lot of work around. I used to believe I wasn't capable of earning a lot of money. I believed that I was not smart enough, educated enough, etc. And over time, I've practiced new thoughts. And now I believe that I can make as much money as I want if I'm willing to put in the effort. I really do believe that. I believe I'm good at creating money. I believe I'm capable of building a multiple six-figure business, and I'm well on my way. But if I stuck to that childhood story, I would have quit before I got started. Can't do it. There's not enough money. No one will pay. I can't make money. I'm not good at money. Okay? What's your story? Now, with so many of my clients, they have this story of what they're capable of around money, and then they use it against themselves. So, for example, let's say that somebody knows that they need to leave their marriage. Like they know that it's a dead end. They know that it's not going to work, yet they keep that money story as a way to hold them prisoner to not leaving. I have to stay because of money. I have to stay because I'm not able to make as much as him. Is that you? Are you staying for money? Are you staying because you don't believe you're capable of making money? I just want you to check in with yourself with that, okay? Next, relationships. What is your story? What was modeled? For me, I witnessed two people with some tough histories falling very much in love with each other. And to this day, they are very much in love. They are the best of friends. They got married when I was almost 7. This is my parents. My mom had already lost a husband to a plane crash. She had already been through a divorce. And then she met my dad. My dad had already been through divorce. They both were pretty hurt. Yet, they fell very much in love with each other, and that was modeled for me, of really deeply loving each other and being best friends. And so, guess what? I believe that too for myself. I believe that I too could find love again, that there are people out there that I could have a happy relationship with because I saw it. Now, here's an example where my brain went to scarcity, okay? I remember when I was pregnant with my second child, thinking, I don't know how it's possible to love this child as much as I love my first child. And yet the moment she was born, I fell in love all over again, and my heart just grew. That is what abundance does. Abundance grows. Scarcity shrinks. Scarcity says there's not enough. Abundance says there's more than enough. Okay? Now, for me, where scarcity came up for me was when I got married again to my husband now. And I've talked about this before, but I married a widower. He was happily married for 15 years to a wonderful person, a wonderful woman. And for about the first year of our marriage, I really struggled because I thought, how can he possibly love me as much as he loved her? How can I be as amazing as her? How can I possibly be as good of a mother to her children as she was? How can I be what they need me to be? And I went way into scarcity and felt small a lot of the time. And it took me some time. About a year into our marriage, I found coaching. Thank goodness, right? And I learned to retrain my brain to let her be amazing and also let myself be amazing. To let her be loving and wonderful and beautiful and kind, and let myself be wonderful and loving and beautiful and kind. And also allowing in my mind that my husband could love me very deeply because of who I am, not because I'm the second wife or anything like that. Like removing any of the labels and saying, I'm lovable, period. And guess what? I know that he deeply, deeply loves me. I know that he does. Now, what about the ability to love kids you did not give birth to? What about trusting that your own children can be loved by somebody who is not their parent? I remember having this thought that no one in their right mind would want to take on 6 children. And my kids were not little. Like my oldest was 14 when I got divorced, 15 when he passed away. And then I had on down to 5-year-olds. Like I had teenagers, right? And I struggled with that. I wondered who will love them and who will love them enough to be like truly a good father to them. But I believed that someone would be able to. I believed enough to put myself out there and date. And I found my husband who's very good at loving people, who's very good at loving children that are not his. He's very, very good at it. And I'm so grateful that I didn't let my scarcity thoughts of that surely nobody can dictate if I dated or not, because my kids would have missed out on him and he loves them. So how is your relationship story informing the choices you are making now? If you are married and you want to stay married, is there a cap you're putting on how happy you can be? Like, well, I do believe that we can get to a place of peace, but that's as far as it goes. We can get to where we can like tolerate each other. But I think that's about all I can hope for here. How about if you're divorced? What's your story? Do you avoid dating because you're afraid that people are liars and that they can't be trusted? Or do you believe that there are some good ones? Do you believe you are lovable, or that no one will want you because you're just too broken or too fragile? What's your story? How is your relationship and story informing the decisions that you're making? Is it coming from scarcity or from abundance? Next, let's talk about health, okay? This has been a big one for me. When I was a senior in high school, I got mono, and I got it really bad. I was really sick. I was so sick that I missed my last 2 weeks of high school, and I lost like 15 pounds really quickly. I was very sick. And even before that, I was born 6 weeks premature, and my mom had lost her husband when I was 2 days old, and her milk dried up, so she couldn't nurse me. And then I was allergic to regular formula, so I had to have soy formula. And I had lots of health issues. Growing up, I had throat problems a lot, where I'd have like tonsillitis and strep throat and things like that. And then I got mono, knocked me out. I relapsed again my freshman year in high school. I had a story that I could never really be well or really be energetic, that I'm just a tired person, that I'm just tired. And now here I am, 43 years old, almost 44, and I'm really pushing up against that narrative. I don't want to believe that narrative anymore. My body right now is growing a child. How amazing is that? How amazing that I got pregnant spontaneously at almost 44. That my body knows what to do. That challenges a little bit my narrative, doesn't it? Of not being healthy, not being strong enough, whatever. Apparently my body's doing okay. And as I grow this baby, there are some fears around my age. The rates go up of issues, right? Of problems in pregnancy, problems with the baby. And the narrative that I am choosing to believe is that my body knows exactly what to do. My body knows how to heal decades-long patterns. I mentioned, I think a couple weeks ago about how, it was in the episode about pain and how I am changing a lot of things, what I put into my body. I'm trusting that I can always learn and grow, and that my body wants to be healthy. My body wants to heal. My body knows what to do. I can trust my body. Even with decade-long patterns, my body wants to heal. And I love believing that my body wants to heal quickly. Isn't that cool to think about? Like that when we give our body what it needs, it's like, thank you. I know exactly what to do with this. I just think that's so amazing. What is your health story? What cap do you put on yourself and your abilities? Where do you say no to things that you really want to say yes to because you're afraid of something having to do with your body? What's your story? What did you see growing up with your parents? What did you learn? What's the name of that story? Okay, so those are some very common areas where scarcity can be really loud, okay? Money, time, relationships, health, right? I want to talk to you right now about your most important asset and how growing this asset will help you with all of those other things. Your most important asset, my friends, is your brain. Your brain. Your brain is what will determine actually the kind of life that you live. Not how much money you have, not your health, not your relationships, not your time. Your brain will determine that. Your brain is an asset. It is a resource with value. Now, how do we grow our asset, our brain? And how does growing that asset trickle down to all those other things? Well, you grow that asset through knowledge, learning how to manage your mind, thought work, creation of new ideas, generating the emotions that will become the fuel to do the things that will create the results that you want. Those are all done with your brain. So, for example, with this asset of your brain, you can think about it this way, okay? I can't change how much time there is in the day. Time is a limited resource. There's only so much of it. But I can create more value within the time I have with my brain. I can make the most of the time I have. I can be intentional with how I spend it. So it seems as if there's more of it. I can use my brain, that prefrontal cortex, that wise, knowing part of my brain, to determine the things that are wasting my brain space and learn how to do things faster. Have you ever heard of how people on their deathbed often wish they would have been more wise with their time? A lot of people feel that way, but how is it done? By using your brain. We can't make more time, right? Have you ever had the thought, oh, I just had a few more hours? I have. But what if our brains can create a few more hours by learning with our brain to cut the nonsense, to cut the things that rob us of our time, and by learning to be more efficient with time? An example for me is this podcast. So when I first started this podcast, I would block out a pretty significant amount of time to decide on the topic, to get it outlined, to get it recorded, all the things that need to happen. And now 48 episodes in, I have used my brain to teach myself to be more efficient. I now can go and write an outline fairly quickly. The ideas come readily. I have a document where I write down ideas. When you, my listeners, send me things that you want me to cover, I put them in that. And then I get to work and I decide on a topic and I write out an outline and then I come record it. I've gotten so much faster at it. It's not because I've added more time to my days. It's because I have trained my brain to be more efficient. I've used that asset, my brain, to use my time better. Now, how about around money? Now, you can use your brain to find ways to spend less money or to stretch the dollar. When I was a young mom, that was fun for me. I remember scanning the ads every week for who had what on sale and then make my menu based off of that and then decide how much I'm going to spend from that. But I personally think that it's way more fun to believe that there's an endless amount of money in the world and that I can generate money. I can always create more money, and it's fun. If you knew that you could use your greatest asset, your brain, to create money and really trust it, what would you do? Once I heard a colleague of mine, Jody Moore, some of you may have heard of her. She's amazing. I heard her talk about coupon clipping, and it really stuck with me. She said, yeah, I could use my time and I could use my brain power and go like cut coupons and decide where I'm going to go to get those deals. Or I can use that same amount of brain juice to decide how I'm going to create more money. Which one would I rather spend time on? I know for me, I'd rather spend my brain power coming up with ideas and plans and things that I can do to bring more value into the world. And guess what? The more value you bring to the world, it often turns into money. How fun is that? I'm at a spot in my business where I am investing my money into people who can give me more time to invest back in my brain. For example, I'm working with somebody who is going to help me clean up some of my social media stuff. I just haven't spent a lot of time on it. And I would rather pay somebody to help me with that. Well, it'll be all my own content, all of that, but she's basically just making it pretty and getting stuff out there. I would rather pay somebody to do that than to take the time to learn it, to put it all in there. I'd rather give that time to myself to invest in my brain, to read, to study, to learn, to create new concepts. To me, that is more valuable than learning how to use Instagram better. I'd rather use my money to create more value in my greatest asset, which in turn makes me more money, right? What about relationships? I create value in my brain first. So many of us determine our value by what people tell us. And if people are telling us how great we are, then we can be, puffed up for a little bit thinking, oh yeah, I am important, I'm valuable. But what happens when they're not? We can use that amazing asset of our brain to create and support the narrative of what we want to believe about ourselves most. Now, if I believe that I am unique and lovable, I will feel love. If I'm feeling love, I will show up around people from that space and create more of the same. Okay. Can you see how that abundance piece of it creates more? If I feel unique and lovable, I will create more of it in the world. If I feel small and not quite lovable, this is how I will show up and create less love for myself, right? Shrinking. So use that asset of your brain to focus on building up your value. Tell yourself the stories of what you want to believe about yourself to grow your own self-concept. What do you want people to think about you? And how can you believe those things first about yourself before you give that job out to somebody else? What do you want to believe about your current relationship? What do you want to believe about yourself? What do you want to believe about your ability to give and receive love? If you know that you are capable of a very loving and trusting relationship, would you stay where you are? If you believe I guess this is the best I can have. If you believe that you could have whatever kind of relationship you want, where would your actions follow? What would you do? What would you create? So I'm going to give you some quick examples of what the difference between scarcity and abundance sound like in sentence form, okay? And I'm choosing these sentences from current or past clients and their experience, okay? Instead of, he took everything from me, and this is the best I can hope for. And abundance says, I can go create whatever I want, despite the challenges that I have had. Instead of, because of the infidelity, our relationship will always be a little broken. Abundance says, the infidelity was what opened up the relationship to much more love, truth, and intimacy, making it way better than it was before. Instead of believing no one can ever love my kids as much as I do, what if you believe that love is an unlimited resource that can't be maxed out? Instead of believing that you don't have time to do the things that will help you move forward, like investing in your brain, what if you trusted that you investing in your brain is what will actually create more time? Instead of, I wonder if this will work for me. Abundance says, I will get out of it exactly what I need at this point in my life. I often, in consults, talk to people and hear their stories and hear the things that they've tried in therapy or in books or things like that. And they are really afraid that in working with me, what if this doesn't work? But what if it does? There's so much fear around self-investment that's like, oh my gosh, if I invest this time, invest this money, and it doesn't work, then what? What if that's the wrong question? What if truly diving in and investing in your brain, saying, this is going to work. I'm going all in. What if doing that actually will solve for all of it? Time, money, relationships. I watch that. I see it with my clients all the time. They learn how to manage their minds. They go out and like rock their own worlds. It's so awesome to watch. I truly believe that I am my own best investment. I really believe that the more I invest in me, whether it be time, money, whatever it is, that I can then grow in all those other areas of my life. The more I invest in me, the more value I add to myself. The more value I add to myself, the stronger I show up in relationships, the more money I make, the better I am at managing my time, the better I am at managing my health, right? How can you invest more in you from a place of abundance, knowing that you investing in you is going to trickle down to all those other areas? I want you to watch for the sentences in your brain that are from scarcity. Watch them, pay attention to them. A really good way to know if it's coming from scarcity or abundance is how you feel, okay? Abundance feels open, curious, resourceful. Lack or scarcity feels small, closed, or stuck. Our feelings are major, major clues. I want you to play around with sentences that create just a slightly different emotion and go from there, okay? I think I've shared this before, but I want to share it one more time. This is just a fun little story about my mom. So my mom was single. This was after her second marriage and divorce. And she went out into the dating world and would go to these single adults events and met a lot of people that she was not interested in. And it was the kind of the people that, if it was a dance, would ask her to dance over and over. And she's like, oh my gosh, please let me get out of here. And she would go home really discouraged and like, oh my gosh, is this the best I can hope for ever? And then she decided to turn it into a little game. And she would dance with these people and decided that she was not going to quit dancing or say no thank you until she could find at least one thing to appreciate about that person. So instead of sitting there in her mind and being like, oh my gosh, is this the best I can hope for? Please get me out of here. She was actually using her mind to look for abundance. She was looking for good things in these people. And it changed everything for her. First of all, she could decline dancing from a very loving place. Say, in her mind, I appreciate you. I appreciate this thing about you. And it's a no. And then it opened her up to, this is kind of fun. And when she was in that place, she met my dad. And they've been married for 37 years, I believe. You can use your own amazing asset of your brain to shift what you're looking for, to shift what you're seeing, to create a different emotion, even just a slightly different emotion, going from judgment to curiosity, for example. You can use this to view everything differently. I encourage you to practice first with yourself. What are you saying your limitations are? What are you capable of? What do you believe? Are you willing to just shift it a little bit? Notice where you feel like you're shrinking and feel small. How can you shift it to feel more open? You can use this around your spouse. You can use this with your children, your ex-spouse, possible opportunities, really anything, my friends. It really is a mindset. Scarcity mindset, abundance mindset. It really is. It's as the saying goes, the glass is half full or the glass is half empty, right? What lens do you have on? How can you be open to slightly different to see what is possible, to see what is available to you? I think that life is kind of magical. I have witnessed it so many times where I have practiced being open, practice seeing, practice feeling, and then totally blown myself away with what I create. Like, oh my gosh, it's like magic. It really is. It's like magic. Go practice this magic, my friends. From a religious standpoint, I believe that God is complete abundance. There's not any scarcity at all. around God. It's all abundance. And if we believe that we're created in his image, we're meant to be abundant as well. So go create, go open up to possibility. A good sentence to ask is, if it were possible, what would it look like? If it were possible to stay in this marriage and be really happy, what might it look like? If it were possible for me to go out on my own, how could I be happy there? What could I do? What do I not know? And go there around all of those issues: time, money, relationships, health, and many more. Go grow your brain, my friends, and all of those things will fall into place, and you'll have much more than you ever imagined. Whatever you imagine, you can have. Okay, that's what I have for you today. I hope that you all have learned something from this, and I'm going to be practicing it too, right along with you. Thank you so much, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.
Thank you for listening to the Heal from Infidelity podcast. If you would like to be kept in the know about upcoming free classes, new podcast episodes, and other ways of working with me, go subscribe to my weekly email. You can subscribe at AndreaGiles.com/lies-about-infidelity/. Again, it's AndreaGiles.com/lies-about-infidelity/. I will see you next time.